Good morning, it's Bob Chu from Stewart and Islamorada Boat Works. Today's a very special day. This day's been about 3 years in the making. We're here to introduce the 18 Islamorada skiff, a multi-purpose 12-degree dead rise skiff. This boat is completely carbon and negra, meaning hull, deck, and cockpit liner. And it is 1710 in length, 6'6" beam, carries 28 gallons of fuel, 35 gallons if you desire of live bait, and it is something that we've worked through. This is version 3.0 for any of you that have been following us, so we've literally inherited one when we purchased Islamorada Boat Works. We played with that for a while and didn't really care for it. Decided to start from scratch. We did a 2.0 with our naval architect and all of our skiff experience and input. And after about a year and a half with that boat, we finally pulled the plug and said, no, we just got to do it again. It just doesn't meet our parameters, our requirements is what we wanted out of this skiff. So 3.0 came along and bam, we hit it out of the park. One of the key things is you will see on the hull side, there's no what we call a hangover or mud flap that you see on several of the other brands to keep their boats dry. We totally understand that concept, kind of a canoe shape to come up and hit that hangover and shoot it back down. We just didn't want that as the look of our boat. This is the baby brother to our 24 Islamorada. We want to carry some similarities of appearance. Of course, we wanted in our eyes, what's a very attractive boat. What we did in this case was we did a reverse chine from the stern all the way forward, a 12-degree reverse chine, unheard of in the skiff business as far as we're aware of. However, as we came forward, we actually lowered the chine line as it came towards the bow to keep that chine under the water so it doesn't pop, doesn't make noise in a poling situation. And yet it knocks down spray. So we're super excited about it. Can't wait to introduce it to you today. So what's it take to design a skiff, a 17-foot, 10-inch skiff? It takes a lot of thought, a lot of experience, years and years of running skiffs, and then it takes a lot of detail because these boats are small. An inch here, an inch there makes a huge difference in the finished product. Let's start with some of the innovative things that we did. Tow rail. This tow rail is molded into the foredeck as it is on our Stewart Boat Works. The idea behind that tow rail is on lighter breeze days, it functions to keep fly line on board the deck. On any day, it functions to let you know as you're casting and looking at cruising fish or something, your toes will know when you're at the edge of the deck. And then lastly, aesthetically, this particular customer, this is hull number one. It is prototype hull / hull number one combination. I'll point out a few things as I go that will change on the next boat. But this customer wanted a faux teak tow rail just to give it that pop, that kind of custom yacht look, if you will, or yacht tender look. So that is painted faux teak. Foredeck, this area, we emphasize the size of the foredeck based on the overall length of the boat and de-emphasize the size of the cockpit. We also made this height very important to us. I'm a shorter guy, so I know my legs are shorter. I'm 5'8", so yeah, this is an important thing to me. Maybe a taller guy, it's not as important. This is 14 inches high. There are boats in the market that are 17 inches high. At the end of the day, at the end of many days, or even just fighting one, that prize fish you want to catch, the ability to come up here, back down with minimal effort is hugely important to us. So there comes the inches, the game of inches. We think that's important. On our foredeck, we have one large hatch. You can see the carbon beneath the hatch, super clean, no wrinkles, nicely done. 2 gas shocks. There's a subfloor in here. You do not see a fuel tank coming into this compartment here because this fuel tank is below the subfloor and between the stringers. Again, unlike some skiffs, we have full-length stringers in the boat because this is a multi-purpose rough water skiff. So we have a 28-gallon aluminum powder-coated fuel tank below this subfloor on the center line and between the stringers. Center fill and tons of storage in here as a result. I'm touching this bulkhead. All this is clear storage down below. Deep gutters on the hatch, super deep, super wide. This boat is getting a trolling motor eventually, so there is a 12-volt lithium battery there under the foredeck. This boat also has, which is kind of unique because the customer wanted it, does have a Lumitech Razor light bar underneath the casting platform, all nicely wired down through the leg of the casting platform and along the gas shock here. You can choose to do what you want here as far as securing, well, whether you want a casting platform or not, of course, that's a choice. If you do, this one specifically has the ability of being secured with a turnbuckle. If so, we have a means to prevent it from spinning, which it often does with turnbuckles, moves on you. This particular customer wanted full-time mounting system, so we can do either of those things. We can also, this platform fits forward of the hatch if you choose to have it all the way forward, or you can move it back and forth, of course, like most skiffs. So, yeah, this is the one we do. Any customization is available to you. Again, there's so many features here on this boat. I don't want to forget any, but I'm sure I will, or maybe already have. Console. When we get to the console, every builder's got a uniqueness to their console. We offer 6 consoles in this boat. This is the premium upgraded console. 3 of them start with a front seat, 3 of them don't. So you can put a cooler in of whatever size you want. This particular one has the integrated cooler seat. This is actually an insulated cooler, but it's 28 quarts. It can be a 7-gallon crustacean live well if you desire, or it can be both. Plumb it, use it when you want it. As we come aft on this console, it's got a unique feature to it. You can see that the top of the console is very flush. So we've done a cool thing here. We've actually integrated the switch panel into our door panel. And there's a switch right here next to the battery switch that raises the top of the console and can display up to a 12-inch Simrad. Or 12-inch other brands, but Simrad is the largest that I'm aware of. This is more a yacht-oriented feature like the Fotique tow rail. You've seen this on bigger sport fish boats. It's really cool. It obviously secures your electronics when you're away from the boat, when it's in the down position. And in the up position, we've done the angle right, so seated, it works perfect. Standing works perfect. Of course, you have a tilt wheel, so you can choose to put that wherever you want. But this is one console top that's available. If you didn't want this, we will have this exact same console with a flush top, with or without the front cooler. Then we also have a taller console that's specifically for a 12-inch display, permanently mounted, with or without the front seat. This is a cool deal. Some of the other things we have here, these switches are going to change. These will be Bocatech switches on the next boat. Lettering will be backlit on the next boat, but something that will stay the same, voltmeter. So we have a voltmeter. This is something we have on our 24 Islamorada Bay boat. We have a voltmeter for the start and house battery, and then a voltmeter for your trolling motor battery or batteries, depending on if you go lithium or standard. So it's real cool. It's right there. It's information. It's right in front of your face. Kill switch, of course. Lenco trim tabs with indicators. This is the control for the light bar underneath the forward casting platform. Edson wheel tilt, as I mentioned. And of course, this door, like so many of the others, pulls out, gives you complete access, real clean installation below. If you've seen any of our other videos on any of our other boats, the same guys are building this boat, rigging the boats. Super, super ultra clean. Most skiffs today have very wide gunnels. We focused on that. Again, our focus was not on the cockpit size as much as the deck size. We think that's what you want a skiff for, to be up on the deck. But one of the other benefits of having this super wide deck, besides the aesthetics of it that we think are nice, is that the rod racks are literally underneath the gunnel board. I've fished on skiffs, I've owned skiffs where you walk by and yeah, the rod rack's sticking out, catching you in the leg. These are tucked under. I'm standing here, I can't see a rod or a rod rack just looking over top of them. Another thing we did in that regard was we made the rod racks high enough. I know it sounds silly, but little things, little input from Richie, the owner of the business, and myself from years of running skiffs, is these rod racks are high enough off the cockpit sole that you can put a deck brush under them without banging on the rod rack itself. So very cool. Holds up, if you desire, holds up to 14 rods, 7 per side, 5 forward, 2 aft per side. This customer didn't want the aft ones, so you won't see them. As we work aft here, another thing, to us, big deal. Cockpit drains in each side of the cockpit. How many skiffs do you see with one drain on the center line? I've owned them. Richie's owned them. You park the boat on the trailer alongside your house and it's not perfectly level. You constantly fight a mildew problem with rain in one corner. You're out for the day and you're maybe fishing the ocean for tarpon, rougher day, you take one over the gunnel, it happens. One over the transom. If the cockpit takes on water, you have 2 means of eliminating that water as opposed to one in the center that you got to try and coordinate the boat to get the water to the center. So it's a big, big deal to us. Other thing we did was what happens in skiffs with coffee cups, drink cups, they roll all around the boat. Most skiffs, not much thought was put into that. We actually designed into our cockpit liner 2 deep cup holders that this was sitting in just a moment ago. So it will handle any size koozie or tumbler that you want to put in there. It's down low, out of the way. It's not going to spill on you. And in so doing, by sculpting those, one there and here, it's actually improved the overall strength of the cockpit liner because anytime you put in a radius, it adds strength. So again, cool little touch. It's just something we thought about, put a lot of thought into. So another little thing that we thought about, your helm cushion. How many of you have been on a skiff or own a skiff where the helm cushion covers some of your hatches? So if you want to get in a hatch, you're constantly dealing with the cushion to get it out of the way, fold it out of the way, whatever the case might be. Obviously, you can see we don't have that issue. Another thought we had, which is, what do you do with that big cushion? If you're trailering, maybe you're going down to the Keys or Mosquito Lagoon, wherever, you've got this big cushion you're concerned about. So what we did was we hinged the cushion in the middle. It's secured in 2 spots on the bottom and zippered in place underneath the deck cap. And when you disconnect that, this folds in half and it fits in either one of these lockers. Boom, out of sight, out of mind, no worry about if it's going to be there when you get to your destination. The cushion can be thicker if you want, This is the standard thickness. A lot of skiffs are going thicker. We can do it, whatever you want. This is also difficult to tell maybe, but this is an upgraded upholstery that we offer. So moving to the aft deck. 2 hatches. You can see the carbon. They're on gas shocks. Large gutters, wide, deep. They're a molded, gel-coated finish for a storage compartment on either side. We've been asked, could either one be plumbed? Yeah, you could, certainly. However, the boat comes standard with a 35-gallon live well. This is the live well out of our 24 Islamorada. However, some people are concerned, well, geez, that's way more live bait. However, the fill than you might want on a given day. But the fill for this is adjustable and the drain is adjustable. So you can put 5 gallons in this if you have crabs and shrimp and you want to just fish for the day. Depending on your bait style, you might have mullet, you might have pilchards, greenies, who knows? Whatever it is, you can adjust the level of water to suit the amount of bait and the type bait that you have. You can have a gas shock on here if you want. We consoled it with this particular customer. He didn't want it. Yeah. Another thing that's not visible from this point, but if this deck was off the boat and upside down, just like in our Stewart Boatworks boats, none of these gutters drain into the bilge. So underneath this gutter, and this gutter, and the aft gutter to the bilge, there is another gutter, a manifold, if you will, that connects all those gutters to one location and drops them off out of the stern of the boat right in front of the motor. So just another means to attempt to keep your bilge as dry as possible. Well thought out, something we've been doing for years in our Stewart boats. Bilge access, it's hinged. Different polling platforms, I'll get to that as well. But this particular one is hinged, so you do have to do a little manipulation there. If the motor was down, it's easier to access. The bilge is super clean. Although it's carbon and negro, we paint it white so you can see anything that was going on unusual in the bilge. I can see the live well pump, the fuel filter, the seacock handle, and the overboard drain for the live well. That's with the lid only, a fraction of the way open. One thing I should mention too is we will not have these mounting screws on the next boat or any boats going forward. Again, this was prototype, let's get it to the water, let's run it, when these hatches were built. So we will have aluminum laminated in the hatch, nothing visible from above. Polling platforms. So we do a lot of things with the polling platform. This has a permanent step on it. You can get it with a larger step if you desire. You can get it with a folding step if you desire. Different heights. I failed to mention this boat is intended to be run with either a 70 or a 115. With the 70, of course, the platform can come down a couple inches if that's desired, or stay with the taller one, whichever one you prefer. Of course, all the options you can imagine, a sissy bar, rod holders on the side, T-bore push-pull holder, so on and so forth. All readily available. This textured black finish if you desire, or anodized, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, there's probably a whole bunch more that I forgot to tell you about the boat. Hope none of those points were super important. Little slightly roundness to the transom so that spinning on a pole is a little easier. If you're staked out, it's not hit and there's wave action coming. They're not slapping directly on a flat transom. Yeah. trim tabs, the way we mounted them, they're recessed up against the bottom of the hull, but some of it extends out after the hull so as to create a longer waterline. Probably gone into too much detail for this video, but we're super excited about this. Hopefully you are. And as is the case, we're not here to be, build the highest volume of skiffs, just like our other boats, the Stewarts or the Islamorada Bay boat. We're building for a select few. It's all about quality, not quantity. And I'm sure you've kind of picked up on that message if you've seen any of our other videos. So thanks again. Didn't talk about, saying stuff, didn't talk about. Doesn't matter. Thank you for watching this. Hope I didn't drag it out too long. Give us a call, Stewart Boat Works in Stewart, Florida. Thank you very much.